Welcome back to Nick Lange's Comic Corner Classic Less Known Classics. This is episode number 1691 and Doubleshot number 1585. With this episode, I am 9 episodes away from the 1700th episode of this review series. Yes, by far my longest one I've done, and the one I produced the highest amount of videos for. Alright, with this particular video, we're discussing two trades of Doctor Strange. Yep. First up it is Mighty Marvel Masterworks Doctor Strange, Volume 1, which is subtitled to be The World Beyond. This collects Strange Tales, issues 110, 111, and 114 to 129. You're probably asking, like, Nick, the book is called Doctor Strange. Why is there another book in here? Strange Tales was his first appearance. Now, initially, if you read the issues in here, the first 2 appearances is only 5 pages. Yes. Now, Stan Lee writes everything related to this book. Yes. Now, according to Lee himself, this was an interview I read online, that He gives all credit to Doctor Strange to Steve Ditko. Yep. He gives all credit to creating Doctor Strange himself, all to Steve Ditko. And here's the thing about this particular character. This look that's commonly associated with Doctor Strange, that's not what he looked like in his debut appearance. Oh, no. He looked like this. Yes, for some reason, Steve Ditko gave him this look for some reason. I do not know why. Now, Stan Lee, with of course Don Rico, who probably takes it a little bit later, Steve Ditko is the primary artist in these issues. Aside from the introduction to Doctor Strange himself in these issues in here, this published in this trade, we also have debut of Nightmare, a character still around this very day, still occasionally appearing, though they actually changed his look a little bit. His outfit is remaining the same, except his skin is now green. We also see the debut of Baron Mordo. Yes, we even have him tied into Doctor Strange's backstory in here. We also have the debut of the Ancient One, the Eye of Agamotto, the Doctor Strange Mansion, and also debuts of Dormammu, even Clea, Doctor Strange's, later wife, one who he later marries in 1990. Well, basically, from what I've read, apparently they marry off-screen in the off-panel. They mentioned they're married at the start of the Doctor Strange Sorcerer Supreme ongoing series, the longest run of Doctor Strange to date. Now, like I mentioned in my comic history video of Doctor Strange, where he actually stayed in this book until issue, I think it was like 100, and I think it was like 68, is how long he stayed here for. Now, with issue 114, they become a little bit longer, roughly 10 pages. That's the whole reason why there is exactly about 18 issues in here, despite the fact this book being this thick. Because the stories are really short. They're a bunch of short stories related to Doctor Strange. And the way these issues are read, you read these issues like, man, Doctor Strange is somewhat a celebrity. For some reason, his cloak of levitation does not appear in these issues at all. No, they don't. I do not know why it doesn't. It just doesn't. It's just that this look here on the cover, which, by the way, this cover is done by, I think it's done by, let's see. It's done by, they don't list who does the cover. Oh, it's, the book design is Nicole Dysworth. Okay, this is done by Michael Cho. Yes, this look right here, this is the most common associated look with Doctor Strange. And you open the book up, and this is what you get for his debut page. Now, he's always had gray in his hair. All the appearances of Doctor Strange I have read, which I pretty much read all of them, he's always had gray in his hair. Now, the Doctor Strange story is a bit of an interest. Now, a lot of the time we read these stories for Doctor Strange, they're pretty much like horror stories. Because Doctor Strange was, I think at the time, Marvel's first supernaturalist character that wasn't Thor. Yeah, he may be a god, and a little magic was associated with him, but Doctor Strange is specifically magic-based. because a lot of the Marvel characters are in fact science-based. Yes, that's one thing unique about Doctor Strange. And he does account Nightmare several times in his book. Baron Mordo encounters a few times. They even show, like, a couple issues after his debut, Doctor Strange's backstory. Yes, where this is the common story with him that's generally been associated with Doctor Strange for years, of how he got the way he does. Now, how he got to get to his powers, that's all been canon for years. That part of his backstory has never changed. I mean, heck, even Benedict Cumberbatch, when they basically made Doctor Strange a character in the MCU, they pretty much kept this backstory related to Doctor Strange, where he was a jerk. Though they did play him a little differently. It wasn't like a carbon copy of the comic book based character. Like, for instance, in the book, basically he's smoking. In the movie, Benedict Cumberbatch doesn't smoke at all because they don't have smoking movies anymore. So there's one minus there. And they do have the car wreck. Though the car wreck in the movie is a bit bizarre of how the heck this was accomplished with Doctor Strange's hands. Bless you! And eventually he spends all his money trying to find a cure for his hands. Excuse me, and the whole thing, of course, he's often consulted, which in later years he does become briefly consultant before he eventually gets his hands back. Thanks to Mark Waid, of all people, who actually got that back. Even though his hands being damaged, that's been part of his character since his debut. Up until Mark Waid pretty much nearly wrapped up his run and had Doctor Strange get back to using his hands again, where it wasn't just magic, where his hands basically are fully, like, functional as regular functioning hands, and they would do surgeries again. Yeah, I'm not really sure why Wade did that for, because, like, then they did that Surgeon Supreme book, where the book got canceled 6 issues because the pandemic. Now, Mortal issues are actually pretty... Now, there's also one thing they did actually adapt for the Doctor Strange anime movie that came out. It was actually the third of the Marvel original movies they came out with. And I like the movie. I know Erod, he does not like the movie at all. Purely because the story is that bad. At least it kept Doctor Strange how he became Doctor Strange. They kept that canon. Of course, in here they used basically a metal thing to cover his mouth. I think in the movie they used some kind of magical bind in order to close up Doctor Strange's mouth in order to stop Baron Mordo, trying to stop Baron Mordo from revealing Baron Mordo is betraying him to Dormammu. And Dormammu decided to be a little bit later here. But these are pure classic Doctor Strange issues. I do highly recommend checking this out because, well, if you're a Doctor Strange fan, check this book out. This is a good starting point for Doctor Strange. Yeah, there's a lot of Doctor Strange comics out there, but there's no denying. And that's why I think, yes, on the cover, it's a Human Torch because, well, there is a bit of an explanation for that of why the heck that if you read the covers, these things, like Doctor Strange doesn't take a pain in the covers. Well, that's the case for the first 30, for up until issue 135, when the Human Torch was the lead feature of the book. Then when his feature ended, they kind of in a way scattered his own personal rogues gallery around. Yeah, they had a couple of them branch of the Fantastic Four. Some, like one, got swapped around several times over the years, and that was the Beetle, Abe Jenkins. He basically was transferred. He was dropped off in Spider-Man because Human Torch ended his feature, so they pretty much dropped him off there. He was a villain for him for a while, the Avengers, and for the Sinister Sin. He was basically a villain for Spider-Man for a long time, until 1990s where he reformed, became Mach 1. Most recently, he was Mach 10. But that book, I gave a 10 out of 10 because it's classic Doctor Strange. Like, if you're curious about the debut of Doctor Strange and debut of some of the most familiar characters, you might be asking, does Wong appear in these issues? No, I don't think he does. The issues I have here, I don't think he does appear in there. What else do I see in there? Alright, now moving on, different Doctor Strange book, we have another of these Marvel Verse books. Oh, and I was asked to take day off tomorrow.
Day off tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay. That's too bad, losing hours.
Though they asked me to work Saturday instead.
Okay, alright.
Yes. Okay, now in the case of this book here. Now, Marvelverse, those of you who don't know what the heck this is, I'm guessing this is the premise. It's just basically a series of random pick stories related to a specific character. A lot of times seems completely out of the blue, like a Loki one. There were a couple issues of Spider-Man in there, which to me personally, that seems quite strange to say the least. This one just has basically Uncanny Origins number 12, which is just a recap of just backstory, which is already explored anyways in the pages of this book here. We also had Doctor Strange 55, Marvel Avengers Hulk number 5, Marvel Avengers Superheroes number 5, I believe it's the first one for the series, and of course material from 126, 127. I'm not going to talk about 126, 127 because, well, they're published in that trade. Now, in the case of Doctor Strange 55, it's just basically kind of a what-if type story. Like, what if Doctor Strange never, like, it's basically his take on It's a Wonderful Life and the what-if concept. It's taking those two concepts and combined into one. And it's explored an issue of Doctor Strange Volume 2. You know, I know this is Volume 2 because of the style of the cover. Because if this was if this was the Source Supreme book, it would say Source Supreme on the cover. Yes, now who does these issues? Well, Stanley to do Doctor Strange Tale issues, which is a pure classic issues. Uncanny Origins is done by the late Lean Ween, art by Mark Campos. Doctor Strange 55 is done by the awesome Roger Stern, art by Michael Golden. I met Michael Golden, really awesome guy to meet in person. The Marvel Avengers Hulk issue is done by Paul Benjamin, and David Nagima. Marvel Avengers Superheroes number 5 is by Paul Tobin and Gabago Gamagan. Now, the interesting thing comes to... Now, let me show off the cover for Doctor Strange 55. Because... Let's go past these two issues because... Well, I've already discussed... Well, let me show off basically... I can show off here basically what Dormammu looked like in his debut. Because normally he has basically a normal look for Dormammu. He has this orange and purplish look. This is early coloring basically for this book. So, he looked like that for... some reason. I have no idea why the heck he looks like that for. Oh yeah, and this is how Clea looked drawn by Steve Ditko, which hasn't really changed very much. I think she dropped the outfit. Now here's the cover of Doctor Strange Volume 255. Yes, you can tell by the look of the cover, this is cover from the 1980s. If this was from the second volume from the Source Supreme, which actually is the third volume for the series, that actually had a different style of cover. So I know this is from Volume 2. This is the one by Roger Stern, which is a really good issue. Yep. And as for the next couple issues, now this one's quite strange though. You open up Marvel Hulk Adventures Hulk 55, and the first page here is a clear homage to The Exorcist, with the light, and of course it's just basically Bruce Banner and Stephen Strange there. But clearly, you can tell by this first page, it's a clear homage to The Exorcist, which I think is fantastic. Mostly put for this one, and just basically Doctor Strange being asked by Bruce Banner to cage the Hulk. Yeah, that's the main premise of the issue. Just a really good Doctor Strange story. It's not canon per se, but is really good. Now, as for Marvel Avengers Superheroes, it's Doctor Strange's story in the Marvel Avengers universe. Yep, that's simple what the story is. It's basically him teaming with Spider-Man. Yes, because Spider-Man and Doctor Strange always have to team up because they're both created by Steve Ditko, so Marvel loves teaming up these two. I'm thinking though, like, okay, what all the characters Spider-Man loves team up with, like, outside of his own supporting characters, like, why not have Spider-Man form a freaking team with these characters? Like, Doctor Strange, Daredevil, the Human Torch. Yes, you can easily... Well, Human Torch, basically, you have to keep out because it's basically part of the Fantastic Four. By the way, I give this book roughly I'm going to give it a 9 point. Basically a 10 out of 10 because all the stories are really good. But if you think about it, these following characters, like aside from Doctor Strange, who's a non-Spider-Man related character, always has encounters with Spider-Man over the years. You have him, Daredevil, Wolverine, the Human Torch. I'm trying to think, who else was it? You might think Luke Cage, but not really. Luke Cage does not do much team-up work with Spider-Man. They don't like each other very much. I could say the Punisher, but despite the fact these two have counted a good amount of time over the years, they don't get along very much. A lot of the time, Spider-Man would rather fight Punisher for trying to get stuff from killing people than actually help them. Yes. It's kind of odd, to say the least. Yeah. But I personally be down for it. Oh, yeah, definitely. Would anybody else be down with basically Spider-Man forming a team of characters, which he basically frequently teams up with over the years? Yes. Like, who else would you throw in there besides Doctor Strange, Wolverine, and Daredevil? I mean, you could probably throw in there Carol Danvers, because Marvel likes working these two together, obviously. But who would you love to see a team that Spider-Man forms featuring various superheroes who are not related to Spider-Man supporting characters? That'd be something to see. Yep. So yes, that's a single review. There might be one more video coming today. I'll probably do a Super Sentai review video. But aside from that, there's nothing else going to be going on today, okay? See you in the next video. Bye.